Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. I have a few things to say before we start, before I invite the discussion panelists here at these places. But first of all, I would like to thank you all for taking the time to come tonight, because it's raining outside, it's not the best weather, but you're still here. One thing for me is most important tonight is to say happy birthday to Ruben, who is here and doing this on his birthday. Thank you so much for this engagement and really being here and taking the time. I really appreciate it. Then the next thing is thanks to the hosts. So here is a great building, great restaurant. Many of you will be able to dine afterwards. If you're really interested in the history of the building and how it came to be here and what it is, you can talk to Lydia until time she's here, or with Vessi afterwards. Vessi is also the curator here, so she's doing all the exhibitions, so she can tell you a lot more. And actually, she was the first person to go to after the owner I spoke to at first place. So it's really magnificent. I'm really grateful that they sponsored this evening here, because they usually rent it out for different events. And here they just gave it away for free because of our cause, what we're doing. So we're doing this for good. And they said, okay, come by and just do it, right? It's unfortunately only one night, potentially one more. I'm not sure, I'm still in discussions, but it will not be our venue for long. But still, it's really worth it. Then something else that, if I manage to see my notes. Again, for Ruben, it's not only his birthday, but every evening he's taking the time and his all equipment to do the recording, so video and sound. So really, really thank you for this one, and really for engaging so much and taking your time and really being here and doing that, because you're doing this for everybody. So really, really thank you about this. And here I would like to bridge this to the next topic, which is apparently financial freedom is something that's interesting to you and to many other people. So I meet new people, they ask to be added to the chat, they come along and they come to this event or the other event. And right now we have a little bit less or more than 70 people in our chat, which happened within 9 months. And thank you. But this is you, it's like all of us, right? And I've asked some of you, please come and talk about something and help with something. And all of you have always been there and respond to this. So now I have a bit more to ask. And this is, in order for this to continue and to grow and to do more, it will be very helpful if there are a few of you that would do a little bit of support, but not only for a specific event, but just support with the organization, right? Because I have many ideas that I would like to do in strategy. So I would like to have the agenda for the whole new year, for the 2026, right? I have ideas for venues. Thanks to Veli, we have the contact with Sofia Tech Park, which I haven't used till now because of other things I had to do, but I want to do this. So there are other things that we can do, and believe me, a lot of people that really would love to join our events, that really would need the information and the knowledge that we have to share. And if there is some of you that would like to spend, 2 hours per month, it's not more than that. I'm not spending so much time, but it's just, sometimes you just need the energy to do it. You need the ideas, you need the contact. Sometimes you need 15 minutes, but just to call the right person, right? So if there is any of you that would like to share the burden, help me out with this one, I would really appreciate it. And many of the people would appreciate it too. The US, the university, blah, blah, but there are other people that have to share about this. So if we really reach out to these people and take what they have to give, right? This will be really valuable for the club, for all of us, right? So if any of you would like to engage a bit more, this would be great. please reach out afterwards, and I think it will be great. Okay. Then the next thing is the next meeting is planned for the 4th of December. As you see, this is the first time I say when is the next meeting from this meeting. My idea would be really to have the dates for the whole next year, really to set it so everybody can set it and say, okay, I hear, I can hear, I cannot. So there is a visibility, there is predictability. And I would like also to set up the topics, right? And one of the ideas for the topics to be set is really to have a discussion. What would you like? What is really valuable to you, right? And one thing I would like to do for next meeting is turn around and go back to the roots. And I would like to do a meeting about financial freedom itself. So not about finance, not about psychology, not about real estate, what really financial freedom is. And one of the things is I would be talking about my life. So how does it work? What do I do actually in my life? How does financial freedom? Because I think I'm close to that, so I can share my information. I also invited Irene, who will be also talking tonight. But like, she made a great U-turn in her life from corporate slavery, being a corporate rat, now doing something else, right? And it will be great to follow her thought and what really happens to her. There's somebody else I wanted to invite. I still haven't given up on that, but I'm not gonna disclose this now because she still has not confirmed. But if she confirms, hopefully we will have another person to share her experience at that meeting. And also a few other ideas I have. But again, so this is the starting point, the 4th of December. And most probably there will be other, again, a discussion panel, because I don't think one person is enough. It's good to see it from different perspectives. And again, we're talking about how to be financially free. Everything we do in this club, every topic we really do is all about how to get there, right? So any topic, real estate, finance, freedom in the head, everything is about that, okay? Good. Any thoughts any of you have right now? Want to share? No? Great. So I would like to invite the people, the panelists tonight. Please join us here up front and let's do a discussion. The mic. Kiko, would you give the mic, please? Okay. So, we prepared a few. I have my own. We prepared a few questions in advance, but this is supposed to be like a free discussion. So I will be asking a few questions, but they can say, okay, this is still a bullshit. I want to say something else, so it's fine. The main point here, actually, the vision we are here is really, please think about what's the most added value for the people here, in the direction of what is real estate really worth as an asset to generate semi-passive income, because there is no real passive income, right? So let's go into the direction of financial freedom. And I'm sure some of you are considering buying a new property also to live there, which is totally valid. I understand it, and probably there will be enough time to consider this. But please, let's go in the direction of like really how to be there, how to be free. This is the most important part, right? So who we have here, Nina, who is a part of the club, a member from last meeting, I think, or yes, the meeting before that. She's a real estate broker, so she will share her experience and her opinion. Then we have Radu, who is partner in Great Navigator, okay, because there are a lot of companies there, so it's a holding, right?
Like the biggest mortgage brokerage in Bulgaria. I don't know how many foreigners we have here today, but because we don't do finance for people who are not locals or not basically living.
Sorry, Arne.
So we might be, we could have one, but we might be switching to Bulgarian if you don't mind, and I promise to come personally explain everything to you after the meeting.
I would do that. She's blonde, so.
Ако позволите, естествено, така, бих се чувствал най-сигурен и надявам се бих така дал повече добавена стойност, ако разговора бъде на български.
I would still appreciate if we do the conversation in English. It's better.
Okay.
I really appreciate it. Please. Yes.
Okay.
Because it's something that I would like to have as how do you call it, material for future people that would like to join the club. And also the idea is that I talked to a few people that are not Bulgarians, so I would like for them to be able to enjoy what we have here as.
But she mentioned that this is only applicable to Bulgarians. That's why I'm wondering if it makes sense.
But it's the vision is.
It's a topic that we are not really comfortable and fluent in English because I don't really use my English in a daily job, so I don't want to mislead somebody.
We do the best we can.
So if you don't mind, guys, sorry for that. I didn't.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But the thing is, it's more the direction of being financially free. So it's not only about real estate; it's also how to be financially free. So it's. Thanks. I appreciate that. Okay.
I'll just get a chair.
Заповядайте.
Sorry for that.
Ако някой има допълнителни въпроси или имате някакви въпроси във връзка с инвестициите в имоти, аз ще помагам.
Yeah, so happy to consult anybody who would actually need a professional advice on buying a property in the coming months or years with financing from a bank.
Okay, I'm an architect. I'm from the side of the guy who can give advice to prevent a potential disaster when somebody is maybe buying an existing thing or building something completely new. So if I can point out a lot of traps, so to say, that I see many of my clients, they don't regard or underestimate when they begin the investment process. So yeah, this is my
Area. Okay, cool.
And one more person who will be having a role tonight. Just we'll be telling her a short story about a specific part of her life.
Do you want me to introduce myself or?
Yes,
to go
please introduce
straight
yourself
into-
because I have something else to say, and then it's on
So
you.
I'm Irene. I'm Spanish, but living here since 5 years. My husband is Bulgarian. And talking to Boyko, we decided that it might be a good idea to share very briefly what was the story of the real estate crisis in Spain in 2008, just as a historical example for us.
So Lubna said, you sit here because you have to be in the, so you can be seen. So a short structure of the evening tonight. We are a bit like 20 minutes late, but it's fine. So I have some spare time. So Irene will be sharing for 5 minutes her story just to give you a brief idea what she went through and how it went. So if anybody needs more details, you can talk to her afterwards. She's also part of the club. She's in the chat, so you're free to do that. Afterwards, we'll have the discussion, which should be around 45-50 minutes with the questions we have. And then I would love to see if you have any questions that you want to share, and then we can have a discussion. And I would say probably about 8:30 to 9 latest, we should be done. And then whoever wanted to come to the restaurant, we have our reservation. I increased it to 24 people, so if there's enough space for everybody, right? Okay.
Somebody got hungry.
Huh?
If somebody got hungry in the last minute.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say, Irene, it's on you.
Yes. All right. So just a very brief overview, which I hope is interesting for you to understand a little bit what happened in Spain almost 20 years ago already. So my intention is just to share my personal experience. Obviously, I'm not an expert at all in the topic. It's just what I experienced and what I saw working. It was actually at the very beginning of my career. So I started working in 2007 as a consultant in BCG, and one of my first clients was a big bank in Spain. And we were doing their 5-year strategic plan. So all about how were they going to grow further in the future. I started working in 2007, which was, I would say, the peak of the golden times in Spain. There was record low unemployment. Still, it was 8%, but that's a long story why it's always so high in Spain. But it was record low unemployment, very good GDP growth. Both of those things very much fueled by the construction industry. So there was a very big boom in construction, but linked also to foreign investment that was coming in because Spain had gone into the euro a few years earlier. So there was a lot of foreign investment coming in. And there were also very low interest rates. And I remember at the bank, it was very common to be giving mortgages at 100% of the value of the property, plus personal loans to go on holiday, to furnish the apartment, and so on. So it was a very kind of free flow of money, and everything seemed, the perception around was that it was a safe bet, a very sure investment. You were going to get your money back. There was no way the real estate prices would ever drop. So what happened? There was a lot of optimism. Everything was going well. Nobody thought anything was going to go wrong. And I remember very specifically as an anecdote, one meeting where one of my colleagues, one of the analysts, had done a model of how high would the bad debt go. So how many people would stop paying their mortgages. He had put the worst case, most pessimistic scenario to go to 10%. I promise you, all of the senior people in the room were laughing, were basically humiliating the poor guy because this was so ridiculous. The level at the time was around 2%, and they were saying if it ever reaches 10%, we will be in Armageddon. I mean, it's the end of the world. There's no way it can go. Spoiler alert, it went beyond 10% afterwards. But the feeling at the time was this is impossible. It's a very good time for the country, and everything is going well. What happened? 2008, the subprime mortgage crisis happened in the US, and all of a sudden, I would say basically overnight, the confidence disappeared. The foreign investment pulled away. There was no more foreign money coming in. And suddenly the demand dropped more than 40%. I checked a few numbers because I don't remember the facts, but one thing that shocked me is that construction fell by 94% from the peak. And at the peak, Spain was building 600 to 800,000 properties a year, which was more than UK, Germany, and France combined, which is absolutely out of proportion with anything that's actually necessary. And I remember at the time as well, in the peak, you heard a lot of stories of people leaving university to work in construction because they were getting 4,000 euros a month, and why should I study? It was really a very, very out of proportion situation. And then, once the confidence went away, once the foreign money in that case went away, interest rates went up, and then people suddenly couldn't pay their mortgage. Suddenly, I think half of the real estate agencies in the country shut down over the course of a year. Banks started losing liquidity, and a lot of banks went bankrupt, including our client. I had to be bailed out. We lost the client, so I remember also one day overnight, it was like, go to the office, we don't have a client anymore. So it was really a shocking and very, very fast. What I remember was it was just very overnight, very fast change in the dynamics. And I remember also the one other small anecdote. After this happened, one of the things that became a symbol of how the country had been living way above its possibilities was the number of Porsche Cayennes that were put on the second-hand market exploded, which kind of became a little bit of a symbol of, we were going far beyond our means. And, unemployment went to 25%. It was really a very difficult period for many, many years. I looked at the statistics, and the prices of real estate, which obviously dropped suddenly at that time, have not recovered to the level of 2007 until last year. So it took 15 years for it to come back.
What was the average price of square meter in Madrid? Or which was the active price?
I had checked this. It was, I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember what was the average price per square. I remember...
What's driving the market? Is it investment
It was, a lot of it was,
Focus buyers?
a
or-
lot of it was foreign investment, a lot of it was speculation, let's say, investment, but excessive investment. Like people were having multiple
Because the
apartments.
same
and
thing
as a-
happened in London, right? Like
Yeah.
China bought London,
yeah.
and then we saw Brexit, and then we
It
saw
happened.
prices.
It crashes, yeah.
Down.
I remember that the real estate prices, it said that the real estate prices tripled from 1996 to 2007. They were growing. I mean, this is really, was really an extreme growth. So for me, I mean, not to go too much into the details of what happened, because I hope it's not applicable to us now, but in terms of what lessons it gives in terms of financial freedom, for me it's mainly three things. One is, let's say, whatever seems like easy money, be careful, because at the time, honestly, very smart senior people were saying this is never going to go down, it's impossible, you know. But there were facts and figures that you could check to know that this wasn't really the case. Debt is, again, careful with debt. It can be good, it can be positive, but it can go a little bit too far. So where's the balance? No, as a general thing. And again, here it was, I mean, after that, nobody was giving. I mean, I don't think you can get a mortgage up to 100% of the property ever again, because they really understood that this was not a smart idea. And the final one, which I think is the most important, is that for me, financial freedom is about building something that's sustainable and that can build and that can what's the word in English? That can withstand the booms and the busts that will happen in any market, in any whether it's real estate, stocks, or whatever it is. There will be ups and downs, but you need to, for financial freedom, you need to build a portfolio that has enough diversification, that has enough of everything inside, that when one thing goes bad, another thing will go well, and you can have the peace of mind that you're not, let's say, following the latest fad that may or may not end up, you know, paying off. So at least that was my learning from that, and I think that's it.
That's it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions, ask me. Otherwise, I'll
I
leave
have a
you.
question.
Yes.
What happened to the interest rate after this happened?
Uh,
Did it go down or did it go up?
The interest rates were going up afterwards, because what happened was the interest rates had become very low in the peak period, and after that they went up, but they went up everywhere. It was more driven by what was going on in the US, and everything else went up. But yeah, and that was and everyone had variable interest rate, variable loans. So suddenly...
Fixed is not always good, believe me.
No, I know, but nobody had fixed at the time. It wasn't a thing. Nobody was, because it was so low and never was going up. When it went up, people couldn't pay their property back, and in Spain, many people discovered that in the fine print of their contracts, if the value of the property was going down below a certain level, the bank would take your house, but you still had to pay back some money. So many people lost their house and still had a debt to pay to the bank, which was something people thought, okay, I give you my house and I'm free. No. So
It's
it
like
was
a personal guarantee.
Yes, it was like something that people didn't even know that they had signed, but yeah.
I have a question. You said the prices went for 1 year threefold.
No,
For many years, for 7, 8 years.
1996 to 2007, almost 10 years, I would say.
Okay, 10 years.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, do you know if the construction costs followed the same?
I have no idea. Construction costs, you mean?
Yeah,
No,
construction-
Price
No,
cost based, or
if
I-
they
I-
are
I'm not an expert.
proportionate to the-
I'm
to
not an
the
expert,
selling
but no,
prices.
they weren't proportionate. The value was way above. It was demand based. Yes, yes. That
Because
was-
it's a big European market, and if the selling prices are very high, you can probably get the materials from somewhere else, and this could.
but the demand is driving it.
Yeah.
Something
the demand
interesting that was somebody was telling me about the Spanish market currently, because we all care about the Airbnb experience, right? People are buying investment properties to rent them out, and also because it's in Spain, people imagine they can go there for a month or two, have their vacation, but meanwhile it's gonna produce a cash flow for them. Something they voted recently was that there is a quota, so you can't really rent out your property even though you bought it with that purpose. So you actually have to live there or use it yourself, so you can't really generate money, which changes the whole
Yeah, it depends on the region, but there are a lot of places, even in Barcelona, for example, there's laws now in place to limit your, even, I'm not sure about this, but at least they're trying to limit the there's way too many Airbnbs, the prices have gone up for everybody, so they're trying to make it affordable, and they're limiting the prices of rent that you can
It should be the opposite,
ask.
right? Because you have many Airbnbs on the market, it should drive the
No,
prices
because
down.
the Airbnbs are much more expensive because you're renting it for a short period of time for a tourist, so you can get much more money.
You don't have enough long-term rent.
Exactly. So the long-term rents are being favored now, and they're putting in place a lot of laws to, let's say, limit how much you can rent out for, or to limit, what you said is more about limiting whether you can actually do Airbnb at all, basically,
And make money out of
and
it.
make money out of it. Yeah.
Just the opposite example in Canada, where they're punishing people who buy properties but don't rent them out, because this is driving the prices up for everybody in the market. So they have a extremely high, how do you call it, local tax, for the property tax. And that's how they make the properties go back to the market, because recently in Bulgaria we see many people who are just buying and holding on the property as a investment vehicle, which is gonna just keep the money untouchable from inflation, right?
I have two takes actually. First is like, I remember when KTB, which went bankrupt, the bank, you remember? Like, it was giving for special type of deposits 8% interest. And I know personally two bankers. One of them used to be a CEO of a bank in Bulgaria that did not go bankrupt. He was a CEO. The other one is a deputy CEO of another bank. And they both, one of them put 1 million euros in the KTB. The other one was about to put, and then it went bust. And the one of them actually lost 1 million euros. Probably he got something back, I don't know. But
no one is insured, right? Because we do mortgages, as we told you, and I was maybe one, and he, by the way, and he's he's the best mortgage broker on the market.
Bulgarian properties in the world.
Bulgarian properties in the world. Nobody has done more than that than him. And both of us, we did fixed rates because we believe that if
Three of
it's
us.
gonna
Three of us.
fly. So 3 years ago
We made mistake, yes.
yeah, and we like suffered because we paid 30% more than we should have because of the fixed rate that we chose and that we advised our closest friends to also go for. So yeah, nobody's insured.
No, but I wanted to say something else. If something has abnormal returns and it has absolutely no backing for it, you should be really, really careful.
But explain to me.
I explained to you, eh?
How is it the case that it gives, because we all have property, like everybody here, I'm sure, has at least one property or maybe several investment. I'm looking at some people and also others. And we know it's not easy, it's not free money. I mean, you first need to work for it, especially if you do Airbnb. And then it's not abnormal. What's your return
The
on the
return
properties?
on real estate, just for an appreciation, is abnormal at the moment. You have doubling the price within 4 years.
But
It's
we talk
abnormal.
about the cash flows now. We don't talk about the price.
No,
cost.
I mean
I
the-
separate them because we just heard about the example in Spain where
Yeah.
you can't predict the prices. So let's say that we don't know how much our properties are going to cost in 5 years. We don't know. We believe it's going to be hundreds of percentages. But meanwhile, we make cash flows out of them. So what's your return?
I would here go to the first topic of our discussion. I would invite you, if you're okay for me to come here, which is, now I have the microphone. I'm a wise guy, you know. No, but actually, with real estate, you have two types of return. One is the cash flow, the other one is appreciation. As with any asset, crypto is the same, it doesn't have any cash flow and so on, right? So for me, this is abnormal return, okay? And here comes actually the first question, which we discussed before, is, are we in a bubble?
Just before that, what's the average S&P 500 return now?
I have 19% for the last 6 months.
19.
Yes.
Does this count as abnormal?
For me, it has. For me, it has an explanation, right? For the real estate, I have no explanation. For me, it's my understanding of things, right? No, it's not the same. You have companies that generate a lot of money with other companies. They are selling, their customer base is growing, there is inflation, there are many things, right? For the real estate in Bulgaria, where it's rather right now quite similar to the prices in Munich, Berlin, I think we're already there. I have no explanation why our real estate costs so much. When I look at security, I look at the infrastructure, I look at the job opportunities. Why?
Is it Sofia Lozenets or is it
Sofia Lozenets, but I'm
in Lom, I can tell you that it's not like
I'm comparing Munich and Berlin. I'm not comparing Berchtesgaden, okay? So I'm fine with this argument, but I'm comparing, like, Munich is probably after Düsseldorf, probably the most rich city in Germany. And Germany is the engine of Europe, so like, you know, it's cool, right? And Berlin is the capital of Germany, right? So I'm comparing like tomatoes with tomatoes, right? And the thing is, you are in real estate. I'm not. I have just a small tiny bit, and you were asking about Airbnb, and so I can talk a little bit about this. But this was the second take that I wanted to say. What you said is like, we have a huge now competition in Airbnb. We have over 4,000 Airbnbs only in Sofia. So the prices there, the elasticity is very, very high. I think this was in microeconomics. So the thing is, once you increase your prices by 10%, you lose like 50% of your customers. So I think this was the elasticity, right? High elasticity. Am I right? You're the consultant, so okay. I'm good. Okay. So, and the thing is, as you said with real estate, right? For me, right now, it just doesn't make sense, and that's why I come to the first question. I would address it to you. Are we in a bubble? Because for me, it's a Ponzi scheme. We have another esteemed real estate broker here, Mila, who is also really aware. So if you want to contribute or ask questions, I'll be really grateful for that. But really, for me, this is a Ponzi scheme. So everybody invests and expects to get out before it really crashes. If it's going to crash, I don't know if it's going to just go flat and you're just not going to have these abnormal returns that we are having right now, especially after all the dirty money in 2025 is gone, 2026, the euro is here and so on. But again, I'm an amateur. It could be that I'm talking total bullshit. Up to you.
So if we want to answer the question regarding the bubble, we'll have to check what are our expectations for the real estate market in the future years. The first question, of course, is whether the introduction of the euro will affect the market. If we check what happened in the other European countries who adopted the euro, most of them experienced a high rise in the real estate market. Maybe the only exception was for the Slovak Republic, but it was in 2009 and it was linked maybe to the global financial crisis. So there are different trends which might interfere, but what we expect, there is no simple question, of course, how the prices will evolve during the future years, but probably the market will remain stable. If there is a raise in the prices, it will be a stable raise, not the one we experienced until now, like 15, 18% per year. So we expect...
Up to 30, yeah.
If you count several years in a row, yeah, but... there are different factors which we have to consider, of course. One of them is the supply of new construction. We expect it to slow down, and if the prices will go up, they will go up especially on this segment, the new construction, because the prices of the construction itself go up because of the materials, because of the European requirements as well regarding the energy efficiency and so on. The consumers, they start to be more and more picky, So the good projects, they will keep their price for sure, and the price will continue to go up. What is important to point out is that there might be bigger interest from foreign investors with the accession to the Eurozone. This will create an extra confidence in the investors and the foreigners who come and decide to make Bulgaria as their residential country. The taxes for now will remain stable, as you know, at 10%. So there are more and more foreigners, especially Europeans, who decide to move and to operate from Bulgaria. Even they continue to work for different companies, there are local ones. There are more and more foreigners who decide to live in Bulgaria. So what is important is, as Boyko mentioned, we have two types of incomes when we decide to invest in real estate. First, we have to consider whether the prices will go up. And secondly, if we decide to rent those properties and maybe pay our mortgage meanwhile, which is probably a very good option. We don't know for sure whether the interest rates will go up. As we mentioned in our previous discussion in October, maybe there will be a small raise on the interest rates, which is a very important factor we have to consider on the real estate markets. One different factor is the internal migration in the country. As you know, more and more people decide to live in the big cities. So this creates an extra demand for the few big cities like Sofia, Burgas, Varna, Plovdiv. And in those cities, we expect the prices to continue to go up, but at a slower rate, as we mentioned.
Gradually, not so...
Gradually, yeah, not so as the previous years. Probably there will be a small raise, but not as what we saw previously. So most of the professionals on the market don't expect to have a bubble. But as you know, these are all expectations. We don't know for sure what will happen. But the economic factors for now don't indicate such a crisis as we...
Okay. What do you think as finance brokers? Do you imagine like right now it's still going to continue the same, or it will go flat, or how do you see it?
I can definitely share my opinion, but it costs like zero, especially knowing it comes from me, and I already went for the fixed interest rate. So I this time choose not to be stupid, but quiet. But what I'm going to tell you because you all read newspapers, you know the news, you follow the economical trends. I'm not going to tell anything different if I'm to project something based on these opinions. What I need to tell you from our experience is that people are buying like crazy. We definitely have huge demand for financing. We are growing we are the second biggest mortgage brokerage in Bulgaria. We are growing with more than 100% this year, which is a record year for banks, for us, for the market. People completely got used, especially in Sofia, got used to using financing, external financing for their purchase of a property. And we know that buying a property is a cultural thing in Bulgaria, so people would buy a property just to have it and to give it for generations, but also because they don't have many other choices to keep their money safe. That's going to be their go-to place to save money. So what we see is that we have a long queue of people which are approved. Banks are besides having very low interest rates of 2.18 is the lowest currently, which is crazy for Europe and US and the world. So we have very low interest rates. We have a very huge pipeline for the bank. So people get approved quickly, easily. We don't have 100% backup from a bank, but you can construct a vehicle of different instruments which will lead to somebody buying a property without any savings. And we see that when a property goes on market, which I believe you're going to confirm, it just disappears in like days. And my personal experience, I saw the property which I was sure that I'm overpricing it like crazy, maybe more than 40-50%, just to see what's going to happen. People were bidding for that property. That it just went out for 2 weeks, same with something you sold. So we see that the demand is huge. So anybody who wants to enter the market as a seller is going to have fun currently. It's a very strong market.
You reinvest your money in the real estate after that, after selling.
It's different, yeah.
Yes, but you keep money in the real estate. That's the most important because not just buy anything else.
In terms of my personal choice, how we keep our savings, we do different things, but again, it's something that you're not going to be very much inspired by. I don't do anything different than most of you in the room. So very quick market, properties are disappearing very quickly. We have, even in the, because you said high quality properties, definitely they're going to keep their prices. Obviously, it's a very strong market for them, but also for properties which are in a very bad shape. They need renovation. They're in a, how would you say, compromised neighborhood. Even they sell quickly, and they sell for more than 2.5k euros per square meter, which is, I believe, a very
Outrageous.
Interesting market.
Outrageous.
Yeah. Do you
Okay.
have another question?
It will be
maybe I
interesting
can-
for you to say how you
maybe
see
I
it.
can answer the question why. The construction prices at the moment are almost as high as in Germany, here in Bulgaria, for the region
So
of
what
Sofia.
is the let's say, if we can really distinguish, like, let's say if I build in the center of the city, like let's say Shishman Street, and if I build in Lublin, what would be the difference? So just to have
You mean
Huh?
the difference of the plot?
It's the difference of the plot. For the region of Sofia, the construction prices are the same. It doesn't matter if you built in Shishman or you built in
what would be
Prolesha.
the construction price then per square meter, and then the plot this will be the difference.
Well,
then.
maybe around 1,000 euro per square meter
To build.
without the plot
Wow.
at the
Okay.
moment. With this is
So this is
if you want to
increased
sell
by-
it the usual way.
This
is-
increased 3 times in the last 15 years.
Well, it was never 300 in the last 7 years,
We are
maybe.
old.
Yeah. It was 350. 350 was maybe a number that you all remember. This was really a long time ago.
Okay, so I'm quite
We're
old.
old.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the price if you buy something old, you tear everything out and want to build a new. We did a recent Airbnb project for Airbnb with everything, including the appliances. We came to 1,300 euro. Renovation, including the furniture and the fridge and
Was
the
that
TVs.
a luxury? Was it a luxury? And
No,
it
it was
small?
Airbnb. It was not too cheap, but it's not very expensive, so that you can.
Was it small though? Because usually when you...
Yeah, it was small. It was 70 square meters netto area without the walls. So the prices are really expensive at the moment. There are problems with the supply chains, and I want to warn something about. Usually, the prices, the construction prices, they have a little bit of inertia to the selling prices because the contracts are made 2 years prior for some costs, and then when you actually begin to build, this is just there is a point when the selling price is very close to the construction price, and then the selling price acquires some speed. And it's really cheap to be a developer, but then it's really risky when the construction prices catch up. So this is a little bit hard to, especially in Bulgaria, to manage and to plan. For Bansko, for example, the construction price almost twice cheaper as in Sofia.
So 500, let's say.
Yeah.
But something on your your point about the cost of construction and then prices, the developers are quite mature now, most of them, even though everybody became a developer. And they started to put the clause in their contract where they can index the price, even though you've signed it already, and even though you've paid already your first down payment, or whichever your scheme was. So basically, they can change the price, and you can decide not to continue with the same developer. And we saw that with, especially with the huge developers which have the power and the scale in the market.
There's even something. Continue. I
Yeah.
want to share something else. Sorry for interrupting.
So they hedge themselves now.
One thing, sorry, just to catch on that, is that basically they now have in their contracts that if you resell your property before it's ready, so let's say Act 14, they get a percentage as a broker. So you have.
Well, that's a.
I have seen 3 such contracts already.
But I wouldn't say it's the
Could be, but like I'm saying, what you can see.
Flippers exist, right? They would buy the contract and without even using the notary at any point, they would just flip it to somebody else during
Exactly.
this first phase.
But that's what they just want to participate in the game, right? You say you're a flipper, great, buy it, and I take 3% of your profit, right? Or of the total price, actually, right? So just for you to know, it's flipping. Everybody's also trying to dip their fingers in the soup, right? So everybody's just saying.
But flippers move to Greece, especially the ones.
And they build houses, I know.
And they build houses.
Yeah. Well, maybe this clause is not
Common.
not just from greed. It's only for security for the developers.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I believe so, exactly,
Yeah.
because of the prices a year ago.
It's really, really unpredictable, the market, even for the developers. It's a shame that we don't have one here that we're very, they usually don't share
building.
everything with me. I get a portion of the building prices, but what they do when they sell and flip things, I'm not exactly aware. So yeah. Just if you buy something green, so to say, with advance payment, just be aware that maybe a point when if the construction cost is too high and you bought it very cheap, the developer can go bankrupt if there isn't such a clause, for example, so that he won't have enough resources to finish the project.
Okay. I had a question that we discussed, but we actually indirectly, actually right now confirmed it, that we have some years where the price increased by 15-20% per year. So we confirmed, so I'll skip this question, and the next one is basically, how do you see, so what is your opinion, because like we say it's only an opinion, but what will happen in the next 6 to 12 months? Because I have like, let's say, following. It's my opinion, right? I'm sharing it, and now you're ready to argue against or confirm it, whatever it is. But
and there is a video, so we're gonna watch it in a year.
Exactly, and say, yeah, I know. But okay, for me being stupid and saying, I think by reading all of what's happening right now is that right now we are in a phase where everybody's buying like crazy. This is what you're saying, because we have a lot of gray money or like money that's not accounted for. We have the usual craze of the Bulgarian who doesn't recognize financial assets, crypto, whatever, and recognizes real estate, especially apartments, right? And this combined gives us this, probably this year we'll have above 20% growth of the prices, right? But I think, this is my humble opinion, I have things that I've read, but I cannot say these are the articles, and I'm not a specialist, but this is what I think, that in 2026, prices will not fall, but they will flatten, and there will be more room to negotiate the price. Again, as 2 years ago, as we took the fixed rate, right? I'm just saying what I think, right? Yeah, but I gotta see your smile, so yeah. And I think that when and if interest rates increase, which I thought will happen, but I talk to banks and they say, no, I'm full of cash. I have shitloads of cash. I don't want to increase. And there will be also resource that will be for 30 billion, I think, of level, which will...
70%, 1% needs to be
yeah.
a backup.
So this means that again, the banks will be shitloads of cash. They don't need to increase the price of their resource, right?
Our targets are growing, so the banks are giving us crazy targets every year, like double, and we don't expect interest rates to go up significantly. I mean, they have products and they might be having a more sophisticated um, solutions for people who are buying in different segments, but we don't see any signal. That's why I was smiling, because I've seen this trend for the flattened market. I've been to discussions like not as good as this one, but smaller. And for 5 years now, everybody's saying it's gonna turn around, and it didn't.
And there's another driver that I think this is more of a gut feeling, but also talking to people in different positions in the industry. I think the labor market in Bulgaria will suffer, and I think is already suffering.
But because of what?
Because of shitty economy. Because we are connected to Europe. Europe is suffering big time.
Or AI, because everybody.
AI and Germany market.
Okay, fine. Shitty economy, AI, and Germany
But
market.
we have bigger
Shitty.
problems then, right? I mean, the prices of property.
But what I see is many small suppliers being cut off, a lot of contracts being cut off, mid-sized suppliers being cut off, bigger suppliers working with companies outside of Bulgaria feeling the pain, because in Germany there's pain. Also today there was a discussion about like the biggest companies in Germany and Bulgaria, not in Bulgaria, but in Germany and the world, cutting off contracts. So there, it's a circular economy, right? So I think probably these arguments are not enough that I said at the beginning, but also the economy is starting to slow down. Germany actually was in recession for many years, but 3 years are official, but it was actually before that because it was a rounding error, but okay. And I think Bulgaria was as an island of peace. Like we're having here Chikiriki, everything's fine. Everybody else is suffering, we're having a good time. In my opinion, it's time for Bulgaria also to suffer a little bit, because it's like, it just doesn't make any sense to me, right? And now I think I see it. It could be that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, or just I'm looking for the signs.
Are you going to sell them?
No, because I already made so much actually that I don't need to. Even if it's flat, I'm still good. And it's actually, I'm not so interested right now in the selling and the buying, because I'm not increasing my real estate portfolio. I'm more into the financial instruments right now, and I'm doing Airbnb and long-term lease, right? But I'm talking about like this discussion, right? So I'm not selling anyway because I think I'm safe. I have a margin of safety which is quite good, right?
And no mortgages.
What?
And no mortgages.
Actually, I have one because of you. No, it's a joke. I took it. It's just internal. Вътрешнозаводски humor. Вътрешнозаводски humor. But like this is what I think. And again, if the buying stops, rents will increase, right?
Yes.
This will be very healthy if the rents increase, because this will change the investment dynamic. I think now the rents are, maybe you confirm or disagree, are disproportionately low to the buying cost. And this is, for example, in Germany, it's not so. You can easily invest, build something and then rent it, and this will cover all your interest over time.
Mm-hmm. Currently, the return on investment is between, let's say, 3 and 5%, 3% in the center of the city because the prices are very high, and maybe a little bit more in neighborhoods like Rostova, Vada, Malinova Dolina.
And what would you say is a good return? Like what is
These
a healthy
are-
market?
these
No,
are
this
right
is the market,
right
but
now.
what's a healthy market?
Probably above 5%, between around 8%.
That's why a lot of people prefer short-term investment, like fix and flip, or buying something and after 1 year just sell it.
Selling,
Yes.
Yeah.
But is it this short-term flip possible anymore? Because I think this is all what the real estate brokers are doing. Almost each real estate broker has a fix and flip company attached to it, and it's just there are no treasures to be found on the market, right? I mean, if you're just a normal person as I am, how do I find it? No, right? There are like hundreds of companies, I think. Like this is how the feeling I have right now.
It makes sense when the renovation team is part of your organization. So basically, you pay them a fixed rate
True,
of salary, and
true.
then you can increase the value of the property quickly and smartly, because some of them are doing it for in a series of renovations. Yeah.
I have an opinion. This is not a prognosis, but my personal observance of our current job market and some information about the American market. But from what I understand, in America, what is currently happening is a lot of layoffs. Companies are laying off personnel in the hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of people, and they sell it as if it is AI, because of the AI optimization, but they are actually cutting costs. Some, of course, by the AI optimization. But I see on the Bulgarian market, because I currently now have to hire new people, is that the job market in Bulgaria has changed in comparison to last year or to previous years.
Dramatically.
Uh,
In some
now-
regions.
Yes, and now as an employer, we have a broader variety of people that are on the market that you can choose from. We have people that are willing to work for less money just to have a job. We have people from entire industries. I will take the VFX industry, for example, which a lot of big companies for our
Scale.
for our scale, our big companies, they laid off like 300, 500 people in Sofia alone, so I can find the best VFX artists for like little money. And I think that whatever it is that we talk about today, last time it was approximately 12 months delay from America that it came to Bulgaria, and then it came to Europe, and then to Bulgaria. But I think that layoffs are coming our way here locally. I'm afraid. And when the job unemployment rate goes up, people will be not able to pay the mortgages that they have. I think many people have still mortgages, and this is gonna turn the market around. I hope, I don't know, this is my projection. I also heard a lot of people saying that it's gonna flat, and this is just gonna be a correction to the crazy things that have been happening over the last years. But I believe that nothing can go only upwards in the period of 17 years. I don't know how many.
There's a saying by Charlie Munger or by Warren Buffett, I'm not sure, but one of the I like Charlie Munger. I don't like Warren Buffett so much, but they say like the market can stay crazy longer than you can stay solvent. So you never know.
But it is true, there is a lot of free money and people are really buying, and there are not this many properties to buy from, to choose from, especially in Sofia or in the big cities. So
Plus, quantitative tightening is ending soon in the US,
yeah.
and more money is coming. A lot of liquidity.
So you think that the unemployment is not going to be such a big problem?
But that's the thing, unemployment. I mean, AI is coming for each of us in the room, but it's.
I feel it breathing, my neck.
But that's the thing, that because we see the applicants and the CVs, and at some point, because we, besides Credit Navigator, we also have our digital brand, which is Muskitari BG, and this is like the only way to apply digitally for a mortgage. And then we were seeing a lot of IT guys there because self-selection, so they get in a more turbulent water now. But for the average applicant, it's not a digital country, like, so most of the things do not happen digitally in the country. So AI is kind of.
It will take time.
Yeah, it will take time.
You're very gentle in your expression. I like it.
Can I add some stats towards that? So far, 95% of the companies that are employing AI have not increased their output due to AI. So only 5% are benefiting from that.
Bulgaria or worldwide?
We all have opinion about AI, but let's keep it for the next time.
Yeah, the next. Yeah. Please.
I have a question about the fixed rate mortgages that you were talking about. I'm American, and it was my understanding that you basically can't get a fixed rate mortgage here.
For a certain period of time, you can, up to 5 years. Currently in Bulgaria, it's the longest. So in comparison to Switzerland, for instance, you can have the whole mortgage fixed
Yeah, and you
for
guys
the
can
life.
get them for 30 years.
Yeah, so we don't have it. We have 3 and 5 years, and it's significantly higher. So different products, but he knows better. But different products, different banks, and it's when we were able to have a 2.18 variable rate, we were having 2.99, 95, 3.5 as well. So basically, almost double in terms of rate.
Is there any cap how high it can go? If Europe experienced something like what happened in the States
For the
in
variable.
80s, can it go to 10%, 12%?
It's linked to a, so it's there is a formula behind it. So we usually explain each bank and how they formulate their interest rate. There is no cap, but there is a very predictable and measurable way to in which it can be calculated. So it's not a bank deciding on its own, right? It's not like they can just sit there.
But it means that there's a huge potential for
There
a
is.
black swan here that's even worse than could happen.
So
in
what
the
happened?
US.
Exactly what happened to friends in the US and also to very close relatives in the UK when their term is due, when they need to re-sign their contract if they're not employed, which was the case with the lady over there, which was telling us about unemployment. So basically, if they can't sign again the contract, re-sign the contract, they would go automatically on a high rate, right? So they would be stuck on a 7-8% interest rate in the US market. In Bulgaria, you're gonna go through a check as well with your income. So if you're not employed at the moment you need to re-sign your contract, it will go up your interest rate.
Why do you have to re-sign?
Because mortgages have expiration dates, so they need to be re-signed with new
That
conditions.
is very unusual in the States. I've never
It
heard
also
of such
happens.
a-
No, it does because I have close friends which are stuck in that situation
Well,
currently with a
optional.
house in.
It's optional to
No, it's
refinance.
not because it's optional to refinance, but then the bank would want you to go there and sign a new contract.
But that's
What I'm saying is
almost.
almost everybody in the States has a locked-in mortgage. Almost everybody.
Well, they didn't. This specific.
It's very
Yeah, maybe
unusual.
it's a
And so
mistake
it
on
was-
their side, but they were stuck in a high interest rate, which they cannot now decrease because now they work in Bulgaria.
But what I'm trying to get at is that most people in the States have a fixed rate mortgage that cannot change due to market conditions. It can't change due to their employment or income condition. The only thing that if they don't make their payments, then of course their house can go in foreclosure. But most people don't do that, and those that did, they learned a very bad lesson in our last real estate collapse because the people that took those variable rate mortgages got screwed.
Would you say that more than 95% of mortgages in the US are with a fixed rate for the
I don't know.
lifetime of the mortgage?
I don't think the stat is that high, but I think it's well above half, and I think that there's probably a skew in terms of the dollar amounts. I think that the more sophisticated investors with bigger mortgages tend to go for the
Fixed.
fixed rate. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know it's more than 50%.
We need
for
to check
sure.
that.
And
Okay.
they're actually fixed. They're fixed for 30 years. There's no re-signing. There's no readjusting.
Okay.
But
For example, in Bulgaria, when you get a fixed rate, for example, for 5 years, after this period, you got to negotiate with the bank a new interest rate, not fixed one. And that's why the client, they don't choose fixed rate right now. Maybe the fixed rate was good before 2 years or 3
Yeah,
years.
3 years ago, people were scared, and they would.
After the fixed rate, after these 5 years, you got to negotiate with the bank.
why
new
wouldn't
interest
it
rate.
adjust just according to the benchmark?
Yes, but the interest rate is sum of fixed
Component.
Yes, and deposit index, deposit Bulgarian index. This is deposit all of the deposit in the Bulgarian market,
I think we're losing
Yes.
some people, so we can go into that conversation after the.
yes, but after this fixed period, the interest rate will be higher than the not fixed one.
Just one clarifying point, because I think it's useful for everybody. You're saying that if you take a fixed rate mortgage and you happen to be unemployed or your employment situation changed, at the point when it readjusts, they're going to screw you and give you a high rate, like forcing you toward bankruptcy, or did I misunderstand that?
Because of the risk for the bank is higher.
That's not, in reality, that means they're pushing you toward bankruptcy because you'll have even a harder time.
No, they're covering the price of money is risk. Okay, so the more risk, the higher the price. But for that, they don't care where you get the money. If you either get it or not.
If you're unlucky, they push you towards foreclosure.
But for them is like for you the chance to go bankrupt is higher. So for you can repay the credit if you want.
That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If my money's already tight and they double my payment, then I'm definitely going to be bankrupt.
But you can repay it if you want.
Or sell the property, basically.
Yeah, you don't have to. You can sell the property or take from somewhere else. But for them, this is it.
Okay, last comment. But that means that if things go bad, there are more things here than in other markets that push it to go very bad very quick.
I think every market is like.
Welcome to Bulgaria.
Okay, but let's close this one and get back to the 6 to 12 months.
Every monthly payment, and you have a job, and it's okay for you. There will be not higher interest rate for you yet.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the 6 to 12 months in the future. What's the future?
I don't know. What do you think?
As we mentioned before, we expect the price to stabilize. If they go up, it will be at a lower rate. It will be probably somewhere between 5 and 6% per year. So if you decide to invest in real estate right now, you maybe have to be a little bit more vigilant on the price you are buying at currently, because you'll, for sure, when you decide to sell it, especially if you decide to sell it in 1 or 2 years, it's not you cannot be sure to have this big reevaluation of what we
In
had
Germany,
before.
they say profit is in the buying.
Yeah, and this was the case until recently in Bulgaria too, depending on what expectations you believe on, of course. But probably you have to really consider well whether you'll be able to rent the property. As we mentioned, currently you can expect between 3 and 5% return on investment. And you have to decide how many years you'd like to keep your asset. But in any case, if you want to combat the inflation, it could be a good point to invest in real estate.
Okay,
I have one comment.
please.
I want to agree first with Boyko about the future, and I think that the prices will drop actually. I'm saying this, of course, as non-professional, but thinking logically, right now more than 50% of the properties are bought without mortgage. So I think this will change with the euro, and there will be even less people who will be able to afford properties. So right now,
Why?
Sorry?
Why less people will be able to afford the property for the euro?
Because there will be bigger layoffs. There will be less people who can afford the property, and
Because of the euro.
No, not because of the euro. Because of many other factors.
Okay.
Not because of the euro. But the euro will evaporate the grey cash, and right now more than 50% are bought cash of the properties, which means that this percentage will fall dramatically next year, which will lead to fall of the prices. This is my logic.
Mm-hmm. The blonde girl? The other blonde girl.
Well, we don't expect any significant changes in terms of interest rates. We start calculating in euro, but prices are in euro already, for many years.
No, I'm not talking about interest rates.
No, I'm just talking about my, because I really, everything else is just an opinion, and I can give you a lot of opinions, but my husband asks me not to. So, based on our expertise, we see that what we expect is slowly with let's say in the next 2, 3, 5 years to have more regulation in terms of who is approved for a mortgage. So it might be the case that less people who apply actually get approved. So this could change a little bit the profile of the buyer. Now everybody basically could get a property, and if using the right assistance can get a mortgage. But we don't see any dramatical changes in terms of financing. Actually, more than 50% of the properties are bought with a mortgage currently in Sofia, and Sofia is the market in Bulgaria. With all due respect to Plovdiv, Varna and Burgas, they are incomparably smaller than the market in Sofia, and we don't have mountain and vacation and active property market on the seaside. So, yep, we don't expect big changes.
Okay, so double growth as last year, right? This is your target. This is what you told me, right? 100%.
Well, depends. So people who need to buy properties to live in, they're gonna buy properties to live in. Investment. No, please. No.
But do we have so many people that?
That was my question. And based on your expertise, who is buying? Because as I said, in Spain, it was a lot of foreign investment came in, which is the most volatile, I guess. If it's people who are buying.
We don't have foreign, obviously because of the profile of our business.
What would you say is, let's say, foreigners who live abroad who are buying it for investment but won't live in it?
We don't have those. We have Bulgarians who live abroad and who want to secure their a home to go to, or they just want to keep their money in the country because they start to believe that the market is actually going somewhere. So we might be having out of the pocket less than 10% definitely, but more than it used to be, maybe around 5%. And I would say definitely more than 60-70% maybe of our clients actually buy a property to live in, not for investment.
How many?
60-70%. Yeah.
My question would be, what kind of property are buying people now, and do you expect change in the property? For example, type of like new buildings, or there are other people that are coming back. They have more sentiments about the old part of Sofia or village houses. So how about that? Is it about, or they're buying like one type of property, everything is finished, renovated, looks great, or, I mean, like, do you expect any change in the way people buy and what kind of property they buy?
We have something like 3,500 customers per year which actually buy with us, and another 10,000 which ask for an offer and don't find the property. So it's difficult to find such a trend because we have all types of customers. For obvious reasons, we have less customers which buy on the very early stage because banks do not back up properties which are not built before Act 14. But if somebody has another property, there is a way to refinance and to it's not a refinancing, but using another collateral basically to get that property which is in construction. So we see more people buying ready properties, but I wouldn't say that this is the case for the market. Maybe you would be a better guide in this topic because just the products of the banks are more focused on people who buy a ready property.
I would say when we are talking about the center of the city, people prefer to buy properties which are in good condition. Actually, in the building itself, it's a very important thing as well because, as you know, in Bulgaria, it's a big issue because nobody wants to pay any maintenance fee. And if you see that the building...
Good condition.
Yeah, this is a very important criteria. More and more people are buying under construction, But as we noticed, it's not possible to finance the deal if you don't have the Act 14.
It's
So
possible,
people
but
for a
we'll tell
bank,
you how.
yeah, but yeah,
It's
unless you
not,
have another property to
on the
refinance,
shelf
of
product.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really depends on the profile of the purchaser. What we see is that the south regions are really in high demand. I would say the center and the south neighborhoods of Sofia are the ones which are experiencing the greatest growth.
I have a question actually about this area here. Do you notice a shift in the demand of property here in exactly in this area? I
Old
have a
Sofia.
friend who bought a house like one block away.
Investment or?
Investment, yeah. He's German and he bought it for 600,000 euro, the whole house. It was very poorly renovated, just like from the outside it looked okay, but it was rotten from the inside. Still, he's okay. So my question is, do you notice some kind of, how do you call it, gentrification here? Because this building, for example, it all starts with a building like this.
Flagship building, yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about that exactly when we were coming, by the way, because obviously it's beautiful. It's so close to the point zero of the city, what Brad was mentioning. And if you're renting from abroad, if you're visiting the country and you don't actually know quite well the area, you might be actually hooked to be renting around. So definitely a place with potential.
I think this place with potential is very close to everything, just it has a really bad rep because of the people.
And
like-
some
Exotic.
people you
I would
don't
say
want to see at the
exotic.
streets.
It's not bad, it's exotic.
Okay. Yeah, so was Brooklyn.
Okay, but before we start with your questions, let's wrap up like what we discussed up till now, and then I would say we have a few questions from you guys, and then we wrap up the whole thing. So right now we have 25 after 8. So I would say in the next few minutes, like wrap up what we discussed, and then we have the question. At latest by 8:45 or 9, we have to be downstairs, right? Just one thing. Big applause to Vessi, who is actually the reason for us to be here tonight.
I'm
Actually, she's the person that actually like helped and supported like to get the room for free, and really they usually really rent it out. It's very special, and she really helped us to get this. And so thank you so much for this.
No, yeah, it's just I'm the art director of Dot Sofia building, and I'm with this building from 2019 when it started to be built, and I'm living very close to.
So you live in this area?
So, and I know very well the area. I bought here back in time 2014 when it was very, 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 very cheap. But still, the people that sold me the property, they know that.
What was the price? If it's not
I forgot, but
square meter,
they
obviously.
know. I think, yeah, they knew what they're selling me because the property is very unique. It's a loft and it's very high ceiling, and it's a great place. So I think I bought it relatively high, and yeah, the area is definitely changing a lot. But what I see, people just buy and they do nothing with their property. They just wait for things to happen. But anyway, I was Boyko. I was expecting that this financial freedom thing will be more about how we I don't know, eat some I don't know, things that grown in nature. I didn't expect it to be about. Yeah.
We definitely eat things in nature. Yeah.
And
We do
so
that as well.
financially. No, but interesting. Yeah.
Next topic.
Interesting. About the freedom. How
Yeah.
to be free.
Exactly. So how it's basically so. Again, this topic is part of this how you can build your assets that they work for you, because right now, or at least I've been there. I suppose many people are there. They're selling their time for money, right? And life is a project. It has a start and an ending. Okay. And everything has a start and an ending, and right, and it depends on how you spend your time. Is it just like working, or is it like, what do you do with your lifetime, right? And the thing is, the more time you can spend with your loved ones, like your family, your friends, and this means that if you sell your time for money, you don't have this time. The more time you have, this is the ultimate currency. And this is why we are looking at different assets like real estate or financial instruments or crypto, or even art is a financial instrument these days, right? Yeah. So, and again, that's why we're discussing these topics. And this is what I said at the beginning, like you were still not there, is that the next meeting on the 4th of December will be specifically about financial freedom, which is not only how you get your passive income, but how you actually structure your cost. And part of it will be me talking about my life, because this is how it all started. Like I started talking about people, this is how I live my life. They said it's interesting. So I actually want to go back to the roots, let's say, of the club, which is not only talking about financial topics or psychological topics, because freedom is in your mind, but really, how does it really look like life? Like just not something, but like, how do you do it, basically, right? Okay. So sorry for this interruption, and yeah, it's up to you, I think, right? No?
I think we answered the current questions.
Answer questions? Okay, before we start the questions, I would ask each one of you just to give one final advice or anything that you would like to share about the next coming of the real estate, like for the next month, next 5 years, whatever you think is the most appropriate, something that you would like to share. It could be advice, it could be a warning, it could be, I don't know, whatever.
I would say that investing in real estate is always a good option, especially relying on a mortgage. If you have a stable income, it's a very good choice, because you can count on a, let's say, 10% self
Appreciation?
and I mean, you can just put 10% of the
okay.
price as a down payment, and then you can count on the rental in order to cover your mortgage. Most of the time, you'll be able to cover between, let's say, 70 and 100% of the mortgage with your rental income. So this might be a good options for people who want to have this passive income. But please be careful, especially when you are investing on a new building which is under construction, because you might have a very bad surprise, especially what happened recently on a project, maybe you've heard of it, Green Life. Especially there was a huge problem. So it's very important, if you buy a project under construction, check your contract, as we mentioned, check the status of the builder. It's very important.
Yeah, actually banks have these lists of developers which are approved by a bank, so they're vetted. This is not the only reason to use a mortgage, but obviously it also helps you check the documents and the property. Another reason, which shouldn't be the main one, but just a warning, NAP is now checking all deals above 700 levs, which is basically every deal, a property transaction. So they need to see the source of the money, and when
700,000 or 700?
700,000,
okay.
yeah, leva.
Okay.
So 350 euro. So obviously it's much easier to provide source and documents when you use a mortgage. But it shouldn't be the only reason. It just helps you grow quicker.
Well, I don't know what to add. I am a bad predictor. I certainly benefit from the construction boom. But I notice that the quality is changing. It's definitely getting better. The construction quality and also the design quality. Most of my, not I don't know if most, but my colleagues are getting better. The younger colleagues also, they do good design. They work with better programs, modern sort of withdrawing certain software. It has building information management modules. So I'm so to say, optimistic for the future.
Okay. Would you invest in real estate?
Yeah, sure.
As
I would invest as a developer.
I didn't get that one. Sorry.
As a developer, as a guy who would build something and then sell it.
Okay.
Design it, build it.
Okay, you wouldn't just buy a property, wait for something to buy, but you would build it. So you would profit from increase in property, but also from the between the construction cost and the selling price.
Well, for me, it's certainly better because I won't have to pay the costs for the profit of the developer, for the planning, or the design team, and I can foresee and micromanage the building process better, so to say. At least I think I can.
Okay.
So this is what I don't plan to do it immediate, but at some point maybe.
Okay. I will allow myself also to say my 2 cents about it, right? It's like, I think real estate is a safe bet if you don't want to lose your money. So this is something like if you use like to buy a financial instrument, like some, let's say, share in a big company, it's good because you don't lose your money, right? You don't know if it's going to increase a lot, but like the first rule of Warren Buffett is don't lose money. Second rule is don't forget number 1, right? So if you don't want to lose your money, it's brick and mortar. So in some case, like in Spain, but we never have this in Bulgaria, it may go down the price. Doomsday, maybe what Ruben says, might be also.
We had it in 2007. I mean, we
What?
had a crisis. We had a.
And it went down also.
So
Yeah.
just don't sell.
But this is something you won't lose your money. If you really expect to sell at an appreciated price, my personal prediction is that this is a Ponzi scheme. I really believe that. This means that from now on, at a certain moment, it will stop growing with these margins. I did a few deals the last 2 years, and I saw that it's extensive cost on brokers, on taxes and everything. So it's like if you don't have a margin of safety of at least 30%, like sometimes 10% of your cost comes from all the running costs, right? And if you buy it and you sell it,
Everything, yeah.
yeah. So, and I think this time where this is just, it doesn't matter how much you buy, you will sell at 50% plus, and at least 10% it's just some running cost. I think they're not going to last for longer. This is my personal opinion. It might be probably a year or 2, but the prices are already very high. And for me, this is really, when you get in, you expect to get out before it really flattens. So for me, this time, if I really get something at a good price, I would probably look at it. I'm looking at this area too, actually. I like it. Like recently I went here to restaurants, and I like the hipster area. For the first time in my life, I like hipsters. It's new for me. Like, I don't know why. Yeah, could be age. Yeah, thank you. But like for me, girls always. Right. But like, you say this with some hope in the voice. But again, I think the quick buck, in my experience, in my not experience, but my view is like not gonna beat that in the next years. So it's up to you, but this is my opinion. And I think many of the Bulgarians are going and will get more sophisticated with other instruments. Like with some of you, I'm discussing different instruments. With you, we're discussing potentially probably in 2 meetings from now to do the crypto meeting, so to do about crypto assets and how they behave and what it is. You also have real estate assets too, so we will be able to do some differentiation between this meeting and that. But again, real estate is great, not losing your money, it will increase its price, but for me, it's not gonna be this rocket because I don't know where to go. Of course, it might be wrong. I was wrong 3 years ago when I took this mortgage. At least I'm using the money now for something else, so it's okay, but it was not I'm not a great predictor too, but it's just an opinion. So everybody's allowed to say their opinions, right? So, okay. So I would say now, if you have any questions, please. Oh, okay, good. Let's start with the gentleman there. He has a nice T-shirt. I love this. That's why I'm not pointing to him.
I'll try to keep this one much quicker. Somebody said earlier that you expect the rents to catch up to the purchase price. I've been living here off and on for 20 years, and every time I check the calculation, the rents have never been anywhere near what's suggested for the purchase price. At least for something nice in Sofia. Of course, you got your capital appreciation if you had a crystal ball, but by what mechanism would you expect them to finally start to close that gap to something like an 8 to 10% yield that makes a good investment after inflation without that capital gain?
Probably supply and demand, because there will be people who won't be able to buy. And with the internal migration in Bulgaria, more and more people are going to the big cities. A lot of foreigners are coming, as we mentioned previously, and they don't want to buy, at least not first thing right now. So especially we saw what happened with the Ukrainians. A lot of Ukrainians first came and they rented. Maybe these people will start to buy, but there are a lot of foreigners. The foreign investors are getting more and more confidence, especially with the ascension to the Eurozone. So a lot of people will just come and want to rent, and the supply and demand rule will do the trick. And probably what we expect is for the rents really to go up. And as far as this is, the trend is what we saw in the recent years, at least it's that.
How can they go up significantly given the salary levels? Like, who has the money for this? To keep paying higher and higher rents. I mean, the rents here also, from my perspective, equally absurd to the purchase prices. Like, it's 1,500, 2,000 euros a month to get a nice apartment in the center of Sofia, and you can live all over the world for that.
This is what we currently see. If the apartment is well renovated, even if the price is a little bit higher, the apartments go pretty fast.
Where did these salaries come from? Sorry, I don't want to get into a side debate. That'll be my last question.
I can tell you my opinion, which is I don't think Bulgaria is a poor country for a long time. We're just with this mindset. Everybody's complaining. Everybody's saying, oh, don't look at Sofia. It's only Sofia. No, it's not only Sofia. Go to other cities. They're all driving new cars. Okay, we have some small villages where they really have problems, but you have this everywhere in Europe, right? So if we have this Severozapadnaya Bulgaria, which is the northwest of the country, which everybody says is fucked up. No, look at the statistics. Actually, one of the highest average salaries, except Sofia, is there for the whole country, where we say it's most fucked up. I don't know why, but it's it. So Bulgaria is not a poor country, and we are allowed to say it loud. That's it. It's not a poor country. We are living a good life. It's a small market. It still has its problems. The economy is shitty, I think. It could be much better, but okay, compared to other economies. But it's already doing very, very good. Because we are like the last in the European Union, but still we are in the European Union. The European Union is one of the best performing unions in the world. Like, would you like to live anywhere else except Europe? I won't. I love Europe. And Bulgaria is a great place to live. We have our own chaos. It's like, you have a pretty good life here.
Your point, if I understood correctly, is the average salary relative to the average cost.
Already stretched very much.
And
Because,
maybe the thing is, it's the average salary may not be representative of like there may be people with much higher salary than that, and a lot of people with much less, and so it's not really representing the truth of what's out
yeah,
in the market.
the rent price and the purchase price is just so high relative to average salaries, average income, above board income.
That's true.
And that was one of the prime indicators of the big collapse in the US in 2007, 2008. People started noticing that the median home prices were too many times median salary. And I hear it. I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but I would be shocked if they aren't way higher than what we had in 2007, 2008.
But here, the percentage of the gray sector, it's very high compared to the US.
Well, there you go.
You just don't look at the statistic as they are.
But then the euro is a collapsing factor in that. Anyway, okay.
But is it because actually these people are employed and they're still getting partially their income in an envelope? So basically, how is the euro gonna change that for them? It's just
I
a
don't
different
know,
currency.
but that's what everybody seems to think, is that with that comes more financial controls, stricter and stricter. In some other EU countries, you can't even pay for something more than 500 euros with cash. They won't take 500 euro bills and on and on.
You will
That's
be,
a different thing, right? Because it's
When you're in the union, you
it's
have
not
to take the same rules.
you'll be surprised. You go to Munich, and now many of the restaurants take only cash. It was like totally different 3 years ago when you couldn't pay by cash. Now everybody pays with cash. Why? Gray sector. It's growing in Germany right now. For me, Germany right now, it's coming closer to Bulgaria than Bulgaria coming closer to Germany. No, it's true. Like, we're going to be equal at some point, but it's the other way around. It's not going up, they're going down. It's it.
What the Bulgarian bought real estate in North Greece,
True.
yes.
And actually, banks are accepting this additional income, not at full value, obviously, but you can go to a bank and say, this is my official salary, and this is the part I'm not taking in the same way with a piece of paper. So it works.
But I would be surprised if that's not ending as they come into the Eurozone.
It has to, otherwise
Yeah.
You certainly can't do that in Germany or in Spain or in Switzerland. You get arrested trying to do that.
What ended actually is for the people who carried a lot of cash in Bulgaria level. They had to do something this year in order to spend this cash. This was the issue for the people carrying Bulgarian level.
The Germans among us?
Yeah, I have a question for the architect, much more down to earth, because we talked a lot about mortgages and location, which is very interesting. But also, you made this point at the beginning of your introduction that you know so many traps that people can get into. This is one thing. Where is my apartment? That's another thing. What do I do with the apartment? I don't know. Is there anything? Top 3 list also of things not to do with your apartment or to do with your apartment if you want to preserve or enhance the value. Like, I don't know, don't do this, do that, floor plans, don't use these materials, don't use cheap floors, these kind of things. What comes to mind?
The biggest problem is not your apartment, but the other apartments around you. So this is
Mine are all musicians.
Hmm?
My neighbors are all musicians.
Well, there's a solution for this.
Hopefully, we don't have drummer around.
Yeah.
We hope it's good.
There is an easy solution for that. There is a bad solution for water, mostly. We have one of the regulations in Bulgaria. It's very old. It states that we cannot put a bathroom above a living space. This does not exist in Germany, because this is a problem for the insurance, not for the state, so to say, who gives the permits. But here it still applies. So it's for us as designers, it's a little bit tricky to design multi-story residential complexes. But this is actually, let's say, this is still a viable thing to be in the norms, because people do not do their bathrooms all right, the insulation and everything. So, direct to your question, what to do to preserve it, I don't think there's anything specific. Maybe if you buy in an old building, you should definitely go into the basement and see how it looks like.
We all know it can't look very different. These are 100-year-old buildings in the center, right? So the basement is gonna be bad.
Not necessary. For example, this house that I mentioned earlier, when they did the outside renovation, they dislocated the rain pipes that were they were pouring supposedly directly on the street. And when they did the renovation, the rain was getting into the basement, and for a few months it eroded the whole walls. So the basement is really something that I always look when I go everywhere. It's some kind of professional distortance, but I look always how does this detail, the connection between the earth and the wall at the basement, how this looks like. It's very important for the structural integrity of the whole building sometimes.
Also, rooftop terrace, they are common space, so people buy them, but they don't own them actually. Same with gardens, which are.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just jumped in.
Yeah, no, this
continue.
is good.
So, common space area, which are small gardens next to the ground floor. They are also common areas, so it depends on how it was legalized by the developer. Be careful with the very special apartments which usually were kept for the developer. Every building has such, it's the unique penthouse usually in the building. They usually have issues because the owner was supposed to live there, but then they sell them. And they have a lot of walls which are not, they push the boundaries, let's say, to the maximum for these properties. What else comes to mind with...
So this is definitely something. Don't buy under a flat roof terrace of another, because this is his.
I buy, but you
don't.
I love
you
it.
don't buy. Because if something leaks, he has to fix it, and it's very hard to make him do it. If you are on the last floor and the roof leaks, at least you can do it by yourself. Nobody else will pay, probably, although it's a common,
space.
Common space, but at least you can fix the problem, which is very hard to do with another owner above you. And it's basically good to if you pick some property, find some professional architect or some structural engineer or experienced broker, and ask for an opinion for those things before you consider buying it.
Yeah, obviously water piping supplies most areas, luxury areas in Sofia, still not using the, how do you say, the city
sewage.
Yeah, so, but not always announced.
You can see the rivers flowing on the streets.
Yeah, it's romantic.
Yeah, sure. It's very, very nice. Like,
and if it's cold, it's actually, it does. I mean, you can't really guess what it is. It needs to be hot.
Is there some kind of drainage systems locally?
Sometimes there is, sometimes there is not.
So they're like, when you go to an underpass, like a street that goes under a bridge, for instance, and it's somewhere in the city, very often the sewage doesn't work, because I actually worked in construction infrastructure like many years ago. So
one of the biggest companies in the country.
Actually, yeah. So I really know. I've built like not hundreds, but tens of kilometers of sewage and hundreds of kilometers of water supply. And actually, especially in Sofia, but most of the cities in Bulgaria, it's a huge problem. So basically, underpassages, they when there's a rain, they overflow, and I've seen cars basically go into a lake. So it's an underpassage, then the sewage doesn't work because you go like this, there's water, you go, and the water is above the hood of the so it comes to your windshield, right? And you can see it, and actually this is where your car gets broken because it sucks water, so you're done, basically. It happens quite a lot, in Sofia too. Okay, so we are like diluting the conversation. Any other questions?
Your conversation was very much focused around Sofia, but how is the outside of Sofia market for real estate? And especially Airbnbs, for example, there are a lot of lovely cities that are missing investors, let's say. And if you could just give me some
I have a bit of information about Airbnb, but if you want to say. No?
I only have about mortgages, so Plovdiv, Burgas, Varna, active markets, definitely. Also places where you have for universities, active markets, but disproportionately lower than Sofia. So opportunity for growth there, but for profit, but long term. You can't flip properties there. You don't have a market which is so quick. It's a slow market.
About Airbnb, I can give you some personal experience because I have Airbnbs in Sofia and I went with my kids. We were in Plovdiv like 2-3 weeks ago. So I was in the center of Plovdiv, like the artistic or the historic part of Plovdiv, and I have my Airbnbs are in the center of Sofia, like really, I don't know, 50 meters from the parliament, right? Old building. And in Plovdiv, they're doing about 50% more income per night with something that is comparably, I would say, not more than what I offer. I think it's even lower. Of course, Plovdiv is artistic, it's nice, it's like, okay, but Sofia is Sofia, right? So, but I think compared to like what I saw, and I'm doing now analysis about it, because when I rent the Airbnbs, I work with a management company, so I talked to one of the owners, said, okay, what do you think about investing in Plovdiv? Let's look at this opportunity together. So right now we're gathering data to see if my experience is just an exemption. But I think it's not, because I saw some other, and when I was booking, I was looking at others, so it seems to be quite well positioned. I also know one management company with Airbnbs, because I talked to them when I was choosing for the second time such a company. I worked with one, it didn't work, so I interviewed like 10 companies in Sofia. And one of them is actually buying properties in Veliko Trnovo, and he said, I'm like white dove. Nobody does it, right? And there's a great demand for Airbnb. And he says, like, my return, like I buy the properties there like 1/5 or 1/10 of the price in Sofia, but I request the same prices because it's Veliko Trnovo and nobody does it. Okay? If it's true or not, to be honest, I never took Airbnb in Veliko Trnovo. I never looked at this one, but this could be potentially when you look in these cities which could have some potential. But again, you have to be aware that, you want to say something? No. Okay. But why I'm not doing this, I'm saying my arguments, right? It's only for me. But for me, it would be much smaller opportunity. And the moment you do it, 5 other people does it and it's done. And the moment they get to 50, it's fucked up. Because in Sofia, you have 4,000 Airbnbs, and the prices are really stuck. Like I know people that 4 years in a row, they really cannot, they marginally increase their prices, but the moment you increase too much, like 50% of your customers goes down. So it's about profit extraction, right? And again, the market tells you what the price is. You cannot dictate it. You're doing Airbnbs a lot. Actually, you should be able to answer this question.
We want to suggest. It's called Price Lab. So you can go there, pay some peanuts, make research for any area in the world, and see what the income from Airbnb and hotels are around this spot. So I recommend this too if you want to research any spot in Bulgaria. So it's quite cheap, and you can get a lot of data from it, which you can use to make some analysis on what the market price for buying are and the opportunities to make profit on Airbnb, or short term, let's say, on Booking.com or similar.
Thanks a lot about this. It's 5 to 9. I thank you so much for coming tonight and having this really interesting discussion. Thanks so much for the panelists. You really did a great job. Thank you so much for all this knowledge and experience and bearing with my questions without killing me. It's really nice of you. Thank you so much for taking the time. A few organizational things. As I'm humble and I allowed myself to spend some of your money, which is like I pre-ordered some dessert, not desserts, but salads and water in the restaurant. So when we go, there will be rather full tables. It will be something around 30 leva per person, so that you're aware. If you don't want to pay it, I will pay it, but I think I spend your money. So I would suggest if there is something that somebody really needs to say right now, please say it. Otherwise, I would say we close the session.
We have to finish. I can be quick. I really, really want to say that I think that the projections of the lovely lady and Boyko and Lugo are actually the same, because we are not talking about, and this is what I wanted to sum up, we are not talking about the crypto market, which can crash 30% in one day. We're talking about real estate, which is very slow. So I think that you two are right for the beginning of next year, maybe by the end of the next year, but I think after that, the 12 months will be over, which is the lag we have from the US, and I think that his prognosis will come true. So actually, we are all right.
So you believe in doomsday, eh?
I propose that 1 year from now we have the same discussion. And
I
we
suggest to do it in November 26th. Yes.
Okay, I think we can accept each other.
There you go.
Not on your birthday, yes. Okay, I think we all agree. No, I like the cookies actually. Okay, so we don't do it on the 4th of November, but Ruben brings cookies. I think we have a deal, right? Thank you so much.